I'm sorry that this episode's a bit late, but I have been very busy. Oh, and it's raining outside. That's... Well, I'll do an inside tour whilst it rains outside. We have a loft. I decided to build a loft because I can. I finished the roof, and I like looked in here and I was just like, such a big space. Really is a big space. So I've got a loft. I need to put some more fence posts on here. But this is quite a cute little space, and I'll probably turn that into sort of the like bedroom area of this house. I've built this, but I've actually think I want to change this and turn it into a fireplace, because I think that's what this is missing. This needs a fireplace, because then I can stick some campfires at the top and we can have some movement up there. Yay, we can sleep. Good. This is good times. Okay, so let's go and do a tour of the outside world. Not much has changed on this side. The farm has expanded. Obviously, our tithe barn is looking very cute and lovely. Excuse you, why is my... There you go, sorry, my mouse was... my what's that? My space bar was sticking. But what I really want to show you all is two things. One, you can see it starting over here. I've started putting in the basics of where the cliff's going to go. And today what we're going to do is we're going to start building up the cliff terrain around here. This is going to be where the big boulder is going to go, which is why this is here. It's sort of demarcating where the boulder's going to kind of have fallen and fall into the tithe barn. And then this is one of my favorite views of the tithe barn. Look, we've got the pillars. Yay! I kind of just went on a blind rampage and built the pillars. Every now and then something does still fall on my head from in here, particularly like in this corner. So that's fun, but you know. So yeah, so we'll have the boulder will sort of end up kind of coming into the ground here as well. And then I need to figure out what to do with these walls. I don't know, I'll figure that out. But what I wanted to start off today with was something that our tithe barn is missing, which is doors. So I think the first thing I want to do is that, because it would probably have hinges, I would imagine. And then I guess we're going to kind of come out, but maybe not quite at such a crazy angle. I want it to feel like the door is opening, you know. But that would be, because how wide is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's already too wide. So this is kind of why I wanted to sit and do this now, whilst just kind of chatting a little bit about life, the universe, and everything really. So what can I tell you about my week this week, and why I'm a little bit late on... Okay, so that just needs a bit of texturing, and what I thought we could do for texturing is probably something like that. And we'll do it on the other side as well. So what can I tell you about my week? Well, it's been a busy week for me, as it often is, as it is for everybody. You know, I'm not alone in having busy weeks. But the reason why I didn't get an episode out on Monday is because I kind of just blind hyper-focused for so long on digging out the cliff face and doing the pillars, and I literally just kind of lost track of time and life in general. So I am really sorry about that. I know that's like not good Minecrafty practice. And I don't really have an excuse for it apart from just, you know, I literally brain went focus. And for once in my life, I did. I was also, I'd kind of messed up a little bit on one of my projects for my bridging course. So I was also kind of hyper focused on getting that completed because it was doing a portfolio of all the work that we've done so far and explaining how I understand. Oh, I do have a secondary. Excuse you, come back here. Jeez. Explaining how I understand, the consequences of buggering around in terms of intellectual integrity, academic integrity, how I understand how citation works, and all of that. And these are all things, I was talking to my mom about it. So I grew up in South Africa. And these are techniques and stuff that aren't taught to us at school at all when preparing us for university. It's so weird to me that we're not prepared for university at all. And then all of a sudden we're told, hey, you need to go to university in order to live a better life and, have an education and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, yeah, okay, I want to do that. But I don't necessarily oh, bums. I don't necessarily understand what you're asking me to do. So, okay, I need to have where I want these to be. I need to have a wood that they can go on so the grains are all going in the correct direction. So that's kind of just been a bit of a busyness in my life, trying to make sure that I am doing that correctly and to the best of my ability. So I apologize for that. And then the other reason why I've been super, super busy is because so I work for a couple of eventers over here, and one of them has been preparing for badminton. So and I was supposed to which is this weekend, and last week I was supposed to help their yard. And oh, I really like the doors. We have our doors. Okay, now what we do also have is the knowledge that when these doors close, there'd be a small gap there. So I think we need to put something in there. So last week when I was meant to be helping out at the yard, I got quite not quite not well, but I sometimes struggle severely with toothache. So I had a day off for that. So then it was a little bit of catch up and stuff this week. And it's just kind of all been a little bit busy and just chaotic. So when I did hyperfocus and was like super proud of myself for hyperfocusing the other day, and then realized that I'd completely and utterly messed up in terms of my timing, I was like, well, I'm not entirely sure how much I'm going to get done in terms of a functional video. So it's like, well, what? I'll just, I'll ask for forgiveness. And I'd rather produce like a really good. Okay. Okay. I'm so glad I was recording when that happened. Now I'm worried that other things are going to come falling out of these little holes that I haven't necessarily lit up. You need to go away. Okay, we live here now. And yes, that was my fault for not lighting things up well. But also, what the heck? That was so cool. That was so funny as well. Okay, if I go one lower, am I gonna be in the danger zone? Highway to the danger zone. I don't have any bow or anything, and I don't want him to blow up. Is this the danger zone? Danger zone! No! We danger zoned. We flew too close to the sun. Dang it. Well, you know, it was bound to happen at some point. I like this random, like, hole we've got going on in here. Just gonna steal some of this dirt to fill up my mistake. Random question, if I... Okay, I have to be up there to do it. I wanted to see, like, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. But I did. Okay, let's just fill in this hole, and... Man, that was... I'm sad about that. Because that would have been so funny if that had, like, not exploded. But that gives me a chance to put in a little bit of the mossy cobble. Okay, so lesson learned. We need to put some lighting up there. That is on the to-do list, right? No, you... Okay, so I lost a... Dang it, that's an expensive thing to lose, man. That is an expensive thing to lose. Yeah, there needs to be some lighting in here. Okay, we do have to work on the lighting in this joint a little bit. That is clearly uno problemo. Okay, right. So we'll get one or two of those, and then we'll get some of that. Also, so I still haven't managed to. It's been a bit of a month. So I haven't managed to replace my mouse. So my wife, who is the most wonderful creature on the planet, has kindly given me her mouse because she had a spare mouse. And I've upped the speed on it because I've been playing a fair amount of Kalia. And I just kind of wanted it to be a bit faster for things like fishing and shooting and all of that. Well, archery. But every now and then, it's too fast for me. Clearly, I have speed issues. So, oh, those doors look so nice. Now, the reason why I grabbed these fence posts before the incident occurred was because I was thinking, hear me out on this, door handles. Like, do those feel door handly? Like if I come and have a look at it over here. Yeah, like that could be a door handle, couldn't it? Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I like those doors. I like those doors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, they're 2.5 meters tall. That's pretty tall. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're 6 meters tall. I just can't count. No, sorry, they're 3 meters. They're 3 meters tall because it's half a meter per block. Oh, that was a lot more complicated than it needed to be. Anyway, I've also been doing statistics homework, and I think that's frazzled my brain. So, without further scary complications, let us go take a look at the cliff that I've been putting together. So, I've gathered together some resources for it. So we've got some terracotta, we've got some rooted dirt. Okay, the moss will be for on top, so we'll do that. We don't have packed mud because I want to make packed mud. So I think what we need to do is we need to go and get packed mud. And then we can put together, yes, a gradient. And then no, sticks don't, see, this is what I mean. It's too fast for its own good. And then we can put together our little gradient. So let's, we have water bottles somewhere. I shall return once I have obtained a little bit of packed mud, because we've also got loads of wheat. Haha! And look, I brought some of the farm all the way up here, because I thought that would be pretty cool. You're not getting any water, but it's fine, you'll survive. Okay, so let's grab some wheat. And I'll see you back here in a second. Okay. So this is my palette. I think this will do quite nicely. So I think how I want it to be, so where the moss is, I've got some moss. Boop, boop. So this will be the moss, obviously, on the ground. Whoop, moss. Then I think as close to the moss as possible and maybe leaching into the moss a bit will be the coarse dirt. Then I think we'll go up a little bit with these and sort of where the overhangs are going to be, there'll be these darker bits of the terracotta because I think that for me feels, even though actually the gradient goes that way, doesn't it? The gradient actually feels like it goes. See, that's too stark a contrast. No, I think that's kind of how, like, we could probably put, yeah, move there. So that's too stark a contrast as well. I think that's the problem. I do think this is probably going to end up being my overhang color. And then this will be the ground because I think these two kind of match fairly well because they're textures. And then this will go up the cliff and then this will be the most solid part of the cliff. So I think that's how the cliff's gonna look. Now, in terms of the inspiration for the cliff, and let's see if editor Raven can remember to do this. What's the chances? Probably not a lot. I'm taking inspiration from Pearlescent Moon mostly in terms of how she's done her cliffs. Because I really loved the color gradient that she did for her cliffs, and I think there'll be a really good contrast to sort of the colors of the buildings that I've currently got, as well as the buildings that we'll have in the future. So I think kind of the best way to go about this is just to kind of get buildings. So I want the cliffs to have a little bit of a excuse me, sort of to have a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like an arch to them. I should probably have brought more moss with me and not just a single block. It's a good thing storage is. Oh, I could have come through the secret hole. I have a secret hole. It's not so much of a secret anymore because I've told everybody. Who does that remind you of? Okay, so yeah, right. So then let's go back because obviously on the smaller bits, it's not going to be quite as prominent on these lower bits. But as we start getting to the higher bits, it is. And I think I want to dig back a little bit and bring them over, but potentially I might not. So here, I think we'll bring this in and we'll maybe go dirt, dirt, dirt. And then I think here we're going to do that. And then do something like that. So that's kind of how this is gonna look. On these lower bits, there'll be less of the gradient, obviously. But then we'll start hitting a point where we'll start getting, a gradient. So I think this is just going to be sort of a trial and error kind of situation until and it's going to require a lot of sort of backing and forth and back and forth kind of thing. But that I like that. I think in terms of colors and gradients, I started trying to make a hay pile here. I think that's going to be where we're at. So I'm just going to crack on with this and I'll catch up with all of you in a little bit. Okay, so this is what we've got so far in terms of the start to the cliff. Now, obviously, it's not going to look as like impressive yet because it's just down here. But I do kind of like the contrast of the overhang. I like the little like pockets in. So like, I think this will be a little less in now. In fact, potentially, I think we could do that here. And I think that has a fairly organic feel to me, like what I'm seeing. I don't think the layers are necessarily too, I don't feel like they're too blocky yet, because that's something I'm a little worried about, is the layers becoming blocky. So I've just been kind of doing the bottom bit and then coming up to the top and sort of planning where I want the, like, this bit of the moss to go, because how this will kind of work is then the moss will spill out here. So it's going to have like a proper sort of roll top to it for some of these bits. Not all of them. Some of them will be flat, the same as kind of on the coast. But that looks, I'm quite happy with that. I think that looks fairly organic. And these little pockets will be great places to potentially hide some, if I get some brown wool, these will be great places to eventually hide some torches so that we at least have some light, because I think that's going to be quite the big thing. Now we're getting to the taller bits. I need to sort of think a little bit. I also want to think about this rock, because I think I want this rock to still be grey, so it's a good contrast against our, because we'll have moss down here living its best life. So I want that rock to sort of be my contrast in terms of all of this green and all of this brown. I know we've got this big grey building, but I think if it's suddenly all very kind of brown and green here, I think it's just going to look a little bit too much. So I think that's what, I know it could be just mossing this, but I don't want to accidentally moss my giant stone. So I think this is worth it. So we'll do that just so we can see. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're going for. So I'm pretty happy with how this has started. So I think I'm going to do a little time lapse now of me. Okay, we're gonna leave the stone as a giant solid grey thing and just work around him. But I think I'm gonna try and get like these maybe like up to here done in a time lapse and just see how I feel about that, because then I think if we stand here and we look at it, we'll have a pretty good sort of understanding of what we're looking at if I fill in those. So yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna time lapse. See ya soon. we've got some cliffage going on. Let's take a step back and take a look. See, I think the rock's gonna really break it up quite nicely, but I really like the texturing on the cliffs. Obviously, I've got a lot of cliffing to do, but I really like how that's come together. Sorry, these are supposed to be mud. Yeah, from a distance that looks really good as well. Oh man, that looks so cool. And even further away? Yes. Oh, that looks like proper cliff. Oh, I like that so much. I do like the contrast between all that brown and then the green at the top. And I really like the contrast between the different browns in this build as well as the grey on that. So that's going to be a very long-term project because that's got to span, as you can see, all the way. But to be fair, it didn't actually take me as long as I thought it would to to make those cliffs like each of them. So it's the kind of thing that I think. Can I help you? Sorry, there's somebody complaining next to me. He's small and furry and spoiled. Anyway, um, that's the kind of thing that we'll be able to like if I do like a bunch of blocks every day, just like a bunch of sections every day. Within a week, we'll have done sort of all the way around the back because my next task is to build. We're going to start building on top here. So I've started. Hi, piggies. There's also a frog trapped somewhere underneath here. There he is. I hear him every now and then when I'm working. So I want to obviously get these cliffs quite done, but I want to start building our next elevated piece, which is going to be it's going to be on that side up there. So, well, actually, no, it's not an elevated piece, but it's like a part of the church. So that is my next project is to build the next part of the church. This is only slightly precarious, and I want everybody to know that is very scary being up here. Woo. So yeah, so I need to get rid of like that whole lump of everything, which is good because that'll give me some materials for the cliffs. I might sneeze. Uh-oh. And then I have to build something there. Okay, I'm gonna go before I sneeze. And I will. I'm gonna go. Okay, sneezing averted. Okay, shaders are on. Let's just take a pan across the valley. Oh, those cliffs do look really nice. I'm very happy with them. I can't wait to kind of, get rid of what I've currently got there, obviously. But then I can't wait to just fill in all that gap. I think it's going to look so good behind it. I need to be careful that it doesn't get too busy in places because I do think like it makes sense down here, but as we get higher, it's going to become more blocky like that. So it's just something to bear in mind. But okay. Oh, it's raining. It's dark and gloomy. I love being able to run through my little paths, through my farms. I do think I want to put a little bit more farmland, maybe here, maybe at some point, maybe, I'm not sure, maybe a random patch down here, who knows. But I think I'm gonna leave it on that, so let's get into the safety and sanctitude of the house. We also still haven't gotten names for these guys, so if you guys have any suggestions, please, that would be great. I'd love some suggestions for names for the team. You know, I'm very bad at naming things. Actually, I can be really good at naming things when I want to be, but I'm also very bad at naming things. So, okay, we've come up here for some reason. So I think this is where I'm going to sign off. I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. I can't wait to do more in terms of the cliffs, and I hope you're enjoying what I'm building. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. And until I see you guys soon, have a good one!